And this has to do with Joe Biden, our good old president, Joe Biden, hairy legs.
Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs. Hairy. Got hairy legs. Hairy. COVID.
CNN politics. Facts first, Basil. CNN.
Yes,
fact
CNN,
check.
bring in the fact check. Okay,
yes.
Did somebody say something about Joe Biden that needed to be corrected?
Yes, again, I can't believe I'm reading this from CNN. The headline, fact check. Biden's midterm message includes false and misleading claims.
Oh, Biden is getting fact checked.
Yes, and
the man
headline,
himself. Okay.
CNN wrote a headline with Biden's midterm message includes false and misleading claims. Not like could or, sometimes they throw a softball where it's
they'll be
a little out of context or, something like that. But no.
Right. Out of context or missing key information or
misspoke
or just call
or something
it a
like that.
gaffe. Well, yeah,
right. A gaffe. Right.
Yeah.
But no, it includes false and misleading claims. Very straightforward. Now, we don't have to get into all the details, but I'll read the top paragraph here. It says President Joe Biden has been back on the campaign trail, traveling in October and early November to deliver his pitch for electing Democrats in the midterm elections on Tuesday. Biden's pitch has included claims that are false, misleading, or lacking important context. Parenthetical, as always, we take no position on the accuracy of his subjective arguments. Oh, really?
This is funny.
CNN.
Now, this is funny because I think they're telling the truth here. As always, we take no position on the accuracy of his subjective arguments, of Biden's subjective arguments, because we all remember that Trump did not have any subjective arguments. Every single word he said was sort of taken as gospel.
As literal,
and thus... Yeah, literal. And thus, he couldn't say a word that couldn't get fact checked in a way. But I do like how they admit, no, we give Biden some slack, okay, people? So don't come at us. But we did fact check him.
And you'd think, okay, CNN, maybe one or two debunks. No. Here is a fact check look at 9 of his recent statements. 9. They go after 9 of his statements.
How many statements could you pack into a midterm message? That's interesting.
But you got the Social Security Part 1. Again, we're not going to go through the details here, but it's basically, he's just not saying things correctly. The Social Security Part 1, there's 2 parts to the Social Security thing. They tweeted something out, and then the White House deleted a tweet Tuesday that delivered an especially triumphant version of Biden's boasts, and Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre acknowledged Wednesday that the tweet was lacking context.
Yeah, I don't think we need to go through these. That one was funny, though. I've been kind of ultra focused on the White House Twitter account right now because it is basically being used to campaign for Biden, which I believe is illegal. I don't think that they can use the official White House Twitter account to straight up politic.
Well, rules be darned right now, Basil. We're in a crisis. We're in a political crisis in this country.
We did watch this. This was specific. White House was bragging about how Social Security checks are going up, the highest that they've gone up in 40 years.
Right.
Well, it got a little fact check notice. Thank you, Elon. On Twitter. And it turns out that it's gone up the highest in 40 years because it automatically adjusts for inflation every year. So it was sort of in a backhanded way admitting to the highest inflation possible. They went ahead and just deleted that one. They didn't fight to keep it around.
Yeah, this one's fun too. The new corporate tax. So there's a Biden quote and another tweet. Let me give you the facts. Interesting how he says that in his tweet. In 2020, 55 corporations made $40 billion and they paid 0 in federal taxes. My Inflation Reduction Act puts an end to this, end quote. And then the CNN article says, but, quote unquote, put an end to this is an exaggeration. The Inflation Reduction Act will reduce the number of companies on the list of non-players, but the law will not eliminate the list entirely. So
he's been hitting it hard. He's been hitting it hard on Twitter, just sort of lying over and over and over. But so your theory, your rundown, your analysis of this is that there's sort of a a genuine swinging of the pendulum of CNN.
For CNN, they need to buy back trust. They have lost so much trust of the general public that they need to buy back. So if it's not so much bashing Biden, they'll try to be more in the coming months and perhaps years. We'll see. Right. They have to be, and going back to that emotional Wall Street psychology of the market cycle, they'll bring the trust back up and then they can pull off another big sort of deception or move or whatever. But it's an ebb and flow. You know, you can't just be totalitarian one direction.
Now, I can concede a little bit of that. I think that's actually giving them too much credit. Here's what I think CNN's doing. I think CNN actively wants Trump to win. I think CNN wants Trump to win because the Trump years were the most profitable years they have ever had in their entire history of being a news organization. I think they literally want Trump to win. So they can make all their money again. Remember, they are a corporation with a fiduciary legal responsibility to make the most amount of money for their shareholders. And how do you make the most amount of money for your shareholders? You have Trump as president.
Okay, so here's my question.
Becomes the bastion of protecting our democracy again.
So you're kind of saying the same thing in the economic sense, because what I wanted to ask was, okay, once Trump is reelected, does CNN stay neutral? Do they stay on this path that they're on right now, where they're fact checking Biden, or are they going to slip back into
they'll say
Trump, the orange man, bleh, that whole thing?
Whatever they have to say to make the most money. That's what they'll do.
I think it's the latter. I think they're going to go back to all that.
Exactly. Yeah. Whatever sells the most ads. So, and this actually mirrors something that the Democrats have gotten in trouble for recently, which is the Democratic institution, the Democrat institution and consultants donated millions of dollars to the campaign funds of radical MAGA Republicans because they wanted the MAGA Republicans to win the Republican primaries. So, the Democrat, what are they called? The Democrat, what is the person who is doing a campaign? Holy moly.
The candidates?
Thank you. Jeez, Louise.
You've had a couple of those today, man.
It's the brain farts. The brain farts are coming on strong today.
The time change really messed with your time stream.
Yeah, we'll blame it on the time change. The Democrat candidates would win. They thought if you got the wildest, most MAGA Republicans possible to run as the Republicans, then you're fairly sane in comparison. Democrat candidates would easily win. And what they're finding out,
they're all oops.
As we are currently counting the ballots, as we speak, there are it's backfiring. A bunch of these crazy MAGA Republicans that the Democratic institution funded as some sort of master plan to get Democrats to win. That's a great. See, why doesn't YouTube take that stance with us? All YouTube has to do is give us millions of dollars and we'll stop talking about whatever they don't want us to talk about. Anyways, it's completely backfiring. And I think that is kind of the same thing with the news organizations. CNN is making a bet that if they can get MAGA people or Trump himself reelected, that it will be the most profitable thing for their business. It sounds conspiratorial, which is hilarious because it is the most logical, and they are legally obligated to do this. That is the crazy part about our mainstream news, is they are legally obligated to do what makes the most money for their shareholders, even when what makes the most money for their shareholders is getting Donald Trump elected. So, the system balances out, Gons. Nature has a wonderful way of balancing itself out.
Give me a break.
Yeah.